And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shooting the Shit with Jim. This is episode 3. I'm Jim. And with me today is my very special guest, Sean from Cinephiled World Order. Hello, Sean. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing good, Jim. Doing good. Yeah, everything's all good over here. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. I'm glad we finally got here.
Awesome. Yeah, like I said, this is a long time coming. Uh, as I just said, Sean is from Cinephiled World Order. That's where you can reach him. I'm going to post his links in everything that I normally do at post show. But before that, Sean had a channel called Cinephile Sanity. That's where I first met him, and he was one of the first persons. Jesus Christ, I can't talk today. He was one of the first people who basically showed support on my channel and suggested that I go live. And he didn't break my live cherry. Kenny and Sean did that. The other Sean, but I did go on live with him once as like a little meet and greet. So this is actually, I think, our third collaboration live that we've actually had a face to face. But Sean, give us a little bit of background about your channel, buddy. What kind of content are you posting right now?
Ever since I had to start the new channel, it's kind of been hard to get that motivation going again. And even with starting another channel, it's like I felt like I'm on like this probation period where it's like some people can comment on whatever like streams or fucking shorts I do, and then some people can't. And then it's like certain comments I leave on people's things that aren't even inappropriate, they're getting erased, and it's just like, oh my god, this is insane. Like, it's just, wow, I can't believe, like, it's just like, like being in like grade school, having to deal with being on YouTube anymore. There's just so many like guidelines. I wish YouTube would find a way to have an adult section and a kids section and just have those things separated perfectly, but it's just not like that. But yeah, at this point though, I'm just kind of doing shorts here and there and just, mostly streams, at least like one a week. But I mean, we're doing the Batman movies this week, so we're doing like 3 streams this week. But that's really all I'm focusing on at the moment. But, when I first started on YouTube was back in like 2018. I was probably lurking for like a good 4 years here and there because I was just like, I don't think I could ever be one of these people that just starts a channel and just creates content. But I enjoy watching it. Even to this day, I still enjoy watching content over actually making it. But yeah, so eventually I just started a channel. My first channel, which was, the one that had like close to 2,000 subs. The original name was actually Sean Blue Digital, and I didn't know what name to go with. I was like, Sean Blu-ray, that don't sound right. And eventually I just landed on that. I got started, and a couple bigger channels took notice to my channel, and then my sub count went from like 30 to like 300 to 500. And then eventually, I got to hit 1K and on, and then met tons of good people on here over the years. Some people I talk to still, some people I don't. Obviously, I am who I am. Some people resonate with me, some people don't like me, some people don't like that I speak my mind. I try my best to keep a filtered cap on that as much as I can. I try to be respectable, but hey, the bottom line is when you put yourself on a public platform, there's going to be people that like you. There's going to be people that don't like you. Absolutely. And if you can't handle that, probably shouldn't be on here. But that's just the way it is. But yeah, my channel ended up, that original channel ended up getting terminated because I was uploading movies. And I think the one that did it was I uploaded Cemetery Man, which was owned by Severn. And Severn, man, they severed me, man. Right?
Yeah.
But like, when it first happened, I was like, fuck. And then like, it sunk in quickly. And I was just like, you know what? I realized that 50% of this is my fault. I was aware that, uploading these movies could affect my channel, but I didn't really take it that seriously because I just don't take YouTube that fucking seriously. But, I quickly was able to just suck it up. Realized that at least 50% of that was my fault. Let's just get another channel going here, and let's just keep on going. But yeah, it was just really deflating off the bat. But you know, I got over it. You know, it's whatever. I mean, my channel's at like 250 now.
Yeah.
Got it at like 250, but like, you know, I think I really need to start getting into doing videos. Because I really feel like when you have a channel and you use all your categories on the channel, that's where things become appealing to other subscribers for them to want to subscribe to you.
Right.
So if you're only using certain areas on your channel, some people just don't really care, don't really see that as worth, or as you know, something that's worth subscribing to, I guess, or at least that's my experience with it. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's along the road here. It's, you know, I've tried to, you know, just be myself, be respectful to people, be nice. And, you know, I've made some relationships between like sending packages and stuff to people, but like, I just learned over time that, you know, it's people on the internet, you know, it's like, I don't know, like early on, I kind of looked at a lot of people on the internet as like, you know, like real friends, like people that I would treat exactly the same as I would be in like the real world, like, you know, like face to face. But, you know, over time, I just learned that you can't be too nice to people. You just can't. And, you know, people will take advantage of that. And so I just really got to look at people on the internet as, you know, these are just people that I interact with and I relate with because we're into the same things. And I kind of just have to leave it at that and just, you know, that's it. But other than that, though, that's what's led me up to this point. And yeah, mostly just doing shorts every now and then and doing streams at least once a week at this point.
Awesome. Real quickly, I want to say hello to some people here in the chat. We've got 14 people watching right now. Thank you. First of all, we got Mike from Mike's DVD and Blu-ray. Hey, Mike, how you doing, brother? And we've got Carlos Eastwood for Life fan. Carlos, since Carlos is here in the stream, I will take this time to start whoring because that's what I do so well. On Monday, Monday at 1 p.m., that's the 30th of June, that's 1 p.m. Central Time, at the Talking Movies live stream, I will be joining Carlos, Mr. Eastwood there, last episode's guest, Jeff, 101 Bronson, and Dan from the Talking Movies live stream, and the four of us are going to be discussing our top 10 action films live. So please go over to Dan's channel on Monday, check that show out. It should be a hell of a time. It's always fun hanging out with Carlos, Dan, and Jeff. So Carlos, thank you so much for being here, buddy. We've also got Sarah. Sarah's here. Thank you so much for being here, Sarah. Wow, 7,000 subscribers. Wow, that would be awesome. But I know what you mean, Sarah. Thank you so much. And then we've got Sean. Hello. Hi, gentlemen, and other Sean.
It's a popular name. It's a popular name.
I know, whenever I do certain streams, I'll be like, yeah, Sean. I mean my Sean, not the other Sean. So you're the other Sean.
Yeah.
And Carlos here says, oh shit, Sean. I did recognize you with the beard. What's happening? Been a while. I didn't realize you were under a new name, but I did recognize the voice.
Yeah, I had to just go.
Still got that contest win from you, buddy. That's awesome. Let's see here. And Molina's in. Val Kilmer is dead. Yes, Val Kilmer is passed away, unfortunately. But thank you for being here, Molina. So we already discussed your channel and how you kind of got started, but what we haven't really talked about is our mutual love for film. That's kind of what drew the two of us together in the first place. Do you remember what was the first movie you saw theatrically? And it could be anything. It could be a Disney film. It could be whatever.
Wow. Honestly, I think it might have been Beetlejuice. I think it was because, I mean, I'm an 80s kid, so I was born in 83.
Okay.
And, you know, growing up, like, you know, my well, as you can see, there's all sports stuff over my room. So growing up, my dad was just a very sports-oriented person. So it's something I was born into. But my dad was never a very big, like, cinematic movie person. And my mom was, like, to an extent, but like it was really like, like early on I got into movies as a kid, mainly from finding stuff on TV, taking blank tapes and the VCR and taping stuff. So I really had to get into movies on my own. And, getting someone in my family to take me to the theater was like really like pulling teeth. But my mom would be the one that would take me to the theater. But if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it was Beetlejuice in '89. And then I think it was might have been actually, oh, hold on a second. It was either Batman. It was either
87.
Was it 87 or 88? Yeah. So maybe it might have been Batman, actually. It might have been the '89 Batman movie. So yeah, actually, I can't. I'm a little fuzzy on that info right now, but
hey, Tim Burton and you were young, so
I think it was Tim Burton's Batman, the '89 movie. I think that was it.
Okay, yeah, you would have been about 6, so
yeah,
cool.
But
how about this?
But yeah, overall, as far as like like the theater experience, it was like like later on, it's like my mom would take me on like Saturday afternoons. Like I remember seeing like Ghostbusters 2, Nightmare Before Christmas, like all those like basically late '80s era into the early '90s, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, stuff like that.
Oh, Sarah says, I also have a brother named Sean, so don't get confused.
What's funny? Like I remember one year, it was like, I think it was like 4th or 5th grade. And we started the school year. We had 7 Seans in the classroom. And I remember the teacher was all like distraught over it. And she's like, all right, the 7 Seans come up to the front here and write your middle name on the chalkboard. We're going to go with middle names, so no one gets confused. And it's just like, damn, they're like all year long I had to go with my middle name in this one classroom.
Yeah, I always got stuck in a class with at least 2 other Jims. So it was either James, Jimmy, or Jim. And when I was in kindergarten, it was James. That was my name. For some reason, I insisted on that shit, I guess. Okay. And then when I was like in elementary school, it was Jimmy. And from high school up, since it's been Jim. It's like, no, don't call me James. The only time I'm called James is if I'm in court.
Yeah, right. Like your full like real name. Yeah. But at least they didn't call you Jimmy the Kid.
Yeah. No, I've heard just about every version there is, my friend. Okay, we're talking early cinema. How about early video rentals? Do you remember that first time you got a video or a DVD at home and watched it?
Man, kind of. As far as like the first thing I rented on VHS, I really think, because like I remember also when I was a kid, my mom would me and her would go to the video store. She'd be in like the new release section. I'd be in the horror section all the time. And I really wasn't allowed to rent horror movies. It just wasn't. But my dad would let me watch movies like Full Metal Jacket and all these war movies with people just getting blown up to bits, people getting shot. But because of the fact that I would have nightmares with Freddy and Jason and Michael and all these other people, my dad would be like, nah, you're not watching this shit because it's going to keep you up all night. And I got work in the morning and all this. But, like I have a sister that's 10 years older than me. So she used to babysit me and my brother. So she was really our go-to to go get, video rentals because she would get what she would want to get. And she also knew that if she rented what we wanted, it would keep us quiet. Because then we'd be like, oh, yeah, like rent, like, like that zombie movie, that Return of the Living Dead, or one of the Friday movies. She would just start grabbing stuff and renting it. And we, that it would do the job. It would keep me and my brother quiet because we'd be just glued to the TV, taking these movies so seriously, being so scared too. But I mean, 2 video rentals are not my first, but 2 that really stand out to me is when Terminator 2 came out, because that was all the rage, all the hype. When that T2 came out, that was a big video rental for me. And also when Jason Goes to Hell came out, because I was about 10 years old.
Yeah.
And to me, that was exciting because like I really thought at that point there wasn't going to be any more Friday movies. I was like, all right, all that's came and went. So when Jason Goes to Hell came out, I was 10 years old, and I was like, yo, a new Friday movie. This is fucking awesome. And, you know, I rented that and was just like, what the fuck? Like, you know, I'm trying to comprehend all this body jumping. But you know, I really think all these years later, I appreciate Jason Goes to Hell on a level of shutting my brain off and enjoying the kill in it. To me, it's a movie where I could probably smoke a bomb, like take a couple reps, put it down and just have a good time with it, you know. But yeah, like I just know Terminator 2 and Jason Goes to Hell at that time in the 90s there. Like those were two big rentals for me that I was super excited for.
Yeah. Normally I give people shit about their love for Jason Goes to Hell, but you were 10, so you didn't know any better.
Exactly right. I was just like, wow, I never thought we'd get another Friday movie.
Sean, do people mispronounce your name as Scene? I get that all the time.
I've gotten it my whole life. There's only one YouTuber, I'm not going to say her name, but she still does it all the time. But I'm so used to it, you know, and at the same time, hey, I'm the one with the misspelled name, right? So you know, it's not everybody else's fault. Right? Right. But they say that SEAN, that's the Irish way to spell Sean. So it's, and I come from a very Irish-oriented family, so that's the, you know, the the whole thing behind that.
Nikki's here. Hello, Nikki. How are you today? Oh, and here we go. I knew it wouldn't take long. Here comes Carlos with his first matchup of the day. As I know Sean loves horror, a few movie face-offs. Okay, here we go, Sean. Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, versus Scream. Which one you want?
Definitely taking a Nightmare on Elm Street.
That is the correct answer. Creepshow 2 versus Body Bags.
Creepshow 2.
Oof. See, I don't really like Creepshow 2, but I'm not a huge fan of Body Bags either. I'll go with Creepshow 2 because the raft is just so good, so I'll go with that. Fright Night versus From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay. I love them both. I got to go with Fright Night. Fright Night's my favorite vampire movie of all time, so that's a no-brainer.
You know, I knew you were, because from hearing you talk the movie through your videos, I've heard highly of it before, so I was like, I had a feeling you were going to pick Fright Night, which I like Fright Night too, but putting it up against From Dusk Till Dawn, that's no contest for me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, again, it's the age thing. When I saw Fright Night, I was 17, almost 18, and when you saw From Dusk Till Dawn, you were what? Around 14, maybe? 14, 15?
I think 13 or 14. Yeah. Cause I know I was just going into high school, and it's funny that we're even talking about that. My mom went to go see that in the theater, and I was like, why can't I fucking go? Like, I'm 13 years old at this point. She's like, no, you can't go see it. And then, like, I remember when she came home, she was completely disgusted. She's like, I'm so glad you didn't go see that movie. There was boobs all over the place and blood and guts. And I was like, that's what I want.
Yeah, I took a girl that I was working with at the time. The two of us went to see that movie on a date. And the whole time, pussy, pussy, pussy. I'm just like...
Oh, shit.
But yeah, I love them both. Hellraiser versus Candyman.
Ooh, that's a good one, too, because it's both Clive Barker there. But I got to go Hellraiser. I got to go Hellraiser.
Me too. Although R.I.P. Tony Todd, the man was an icon. But yeah, I got to go Hellraiser on that one too. My ex-wife and I saw Hellraiser theatrically, right? And the scene where Frank has the rat and he starts like carving it with the switchblade, she got up and went out in the lobby. I sat in the theater and watched the rest of the movie.
Man.
It's a wonder she married me in the first place.
I'm kind of surprised she didn't like take the car keys and like threw like cab fare on your lap and left.
Yep, I had the keys, so you know. Okay, this one's going to be simple, all right? Because I already know you think. Outside of horror, okay, what are some of your favorite genres?
I love action movies, revenge thrillers. I'm not like I am trying to get more comedies in my collection because I also feel like I'm just at the point where like I have almost like every horror movie, action movie I probably want. But even though comedies are not really something I focus on or fully gravitate towards, yes, I definitely like comedies and stuff like that. But I just feel like today's standards with comedies, it's just like, Jesus Christ, is there anything even funny anymore? Like it just doesn't feel like that. But yeah, overall, it's horror, action, comedy. Like I could basically do any genre besides romance movies, and I'm not big on musicals.
Okay, you just answered my next question. What's
Yeah.
any genres you don't like? Musicals
Yeah.
and romantic movies. Okay, so how about romantic musicals, man?
That's the deal breaker, I guess. Yeah, but yeah,
everybody's got AIDS.
Yeah. Well, now that though, Team America, I love that movie though. That movie's fucking great right there. That's about as close as a musical I can get though.
Yeah. The only musicals I like are comedic by nature. Blues Brothers, Team America, South Park, shit like that. Although I will admit that when I was a kid, I loved Grease. Because I saw that when I was a kid at the theater. And I loved Hair when I was a kid because, again, I saw it at the theater when I was a kid. But, yeah, I'm with you. I'm not a big musical guy either.
See, I could never do Grease because every year in music class, all right, kids, we're watching Grease today. Like, oh, great. It would have been that or the West Side Story, right? Oh, man. That movie got so pounded in my head.
Yeah. Hey, you didn't live through the actual phenomenon of that movie where the fucking soundtrack album was on. I mean, dude, every song from that fucking movie was on the radio.
Yeah.
And, I mean, every one of them. I mean, whoever told John Travolta he could sing, they were lying. I mean, Olivia Newton-John, voice of an angel. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but I'm sorry, John Travolta cannot sing. And Sandy. Okay, they were playing that shit on the radio, and the whole time I'm like, why why? All right, let's see here. Daniel is here. Hello, Daniel. How you doing, buddy? Thank you so much for being here. And Larry, the Whorecat Dad, Grease is the word after all. Yep. Now Carlos has got an interesting one here. Guys, the good, the bad, and the ugly of modern day horror films. Your thoughts. So basically, what's a modern day horror film that you think will go down as like an all-time classic? Because the good, the bad, and the ugly is obviously an all-time classic. So I think that's kind of where he's going with that. Any thoughts?
Modern horror movie that'll go down. I don't think I've ever gotten that question before.
Yeah, me neither. Carlos is good for at least a couple of those per show. He loves fucking with me.
But it is a good question, though. It's just I just got to like take a minute here. But I honestly like one of the first things that really comes to mind is it's now that there is a part 2 coming out is probably Megan.
Yeah, I was thinking because part 2 is coming out, and one that a lot of people don't think about, but I love it. Ready or Not.
I still need to see that one, and I've heard pretty good things about that. That's another one that's been on the back burner for me. I need to see that.
Yeah, that movie's a lot of fun. And I won't go so far as to say The Monkey will be a classic, but I still love that movie. I thought it was funny. Actually, I think one that if it'll start actually getting some views that might go down as a classic 20 years from now is Strange Darling. Have you seen that one?
Yes. Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
I love that movie, man. I thought that movie was phenomenal.
Right. It's, with a lot of these newer movies, I will usually catch them on Look Movie, because just like anymore, I just don't have money to be like, oh, new movie, just buy it. No, I don't like it. Let's put it on the shelf and waste space. So I just had to cut that out. So I watched that on Look Movie. A lot of newer movies that come out, I keep my expectations low. So if I end up liking something, I end up liking it a bit more than what I expected. So my expectation bar, it's always set pretty low. But yeah, I was really surprised with that one. And what was the other one? Another AI movie. What the fuck? Like it was like one word with a C. What the fuck is that movie called? I'll figure it out here in a minute. But yeah, you know, Look movie alone, like just that site, they have so many good movies on there. A lot of newer stuff. Like that's how I watch Final Destination, the new one.
Me too. Dude, I've seen 17 movies from 2025 so far this year, and I didn't see any of them at the theater. And I'm a guy who loves going to the theater, you know, but because of you, actually, I never would have known Look Movie existed because you guys used to do the live streams back in the day. And yeah, right. Final Destination I watched on there. I watched The Monkey originally on there. I watched Captain America on there. I watched fucking the Cheech and Chong documentary, the Pee Wee Herman I mean, yeah, I love that site. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's, you know, like there was only been one time I went on there and they didn't have a movie I was looking for. A couple months later, it popped up on there. But other than that, they usually have what you're looking for. I know a lot of people can't access that site. It seems like, you know, I've had people say, oh, I can't access that on my laptop. So it's just like, well, you know, I don't know.
It sucks to be you.
Yeah, basically.
All right. Let's see here real quick. Daniel says, I own Ready or Not, still haven't watched it. Larry says, I'd say Where Evil Lurks. I haven't seen that. I heard good things about that.
Oh, that's a good one, dude. That one, and also from the same director, he did another one called Terrified. Yeah, it's called Terrified. Dude, both of those, I'm telling you, watch those. They're fucking good, man. But yes, that's the movie, Sean. Companion. That's the movie, the AI movie I couldn't think of. But that's another one I watched on Look Movie and was pleasantly surprised with.
Yeah, Sean actually is the one that told me on the show that we do with Kenny. That was his recommendation of the week that week. He got it on 4K. And I did. Based on his recommendation, I went on Look and watched it the next day. And yeah, I friggin' loved that movie. I thought it was phenomenal. I say Behind Sinners, that's probably the best movie I've seen this year.
Yeah, I still need to see Sinners. There's quite a few things I still need to catch up with. But like I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, why am I thinking it's called Communion? Because I know it's not called Communion. I was like, as soon as I saw you say Companion, I was like, that's it, Companion.
Sarah says, I got Snow White. I know everyone doesn't like it. Novocaine. Novocaine's a lot of fun. I watched that on Look. The Monkey, Minecraft, I have no, but yeah, Companion's great. It really is. It's a lot of fun. And Carlos says, for me, good. New horror characters and ideas like Hellfest and Thanksgiving, the bad reboots and the same characters, the ugly practical effects rare these days and too much. Oh, okay. Now I understand what you're saying. So what he was saying, the good, the bad, and the ugly, he was saying, you know, what's good about horror nowadays, what's bad about them, and what's ugly. Gotcha. So
that's still a good question, but man,
I would really basically agree with everything that he said. That would be my answer. You know, good. Yeah. You've got horror characters. I mean, I have not seen any of the Terrifier films, but as my co-host Sean always says, he's happy that today's generation of horror fans has an icon of their own, which would be Art the Clown, you know, whereas in my generation, we had Freddy, we had Jason, we had Michael, you know, and then in the 90s, they had a couple of other ones, but nothing really on that level like Terrifier in the last couple of years. So,
right. Yeah, but like, I mean, like just the way that the state of the horror genre and how it's like, that the going trend is standalone sequels. Still trying to understand what the fuck that means. What is a standalone sequel? And that's the safe route nowadays. But this is another reason why I don't jump on a lot of movies, like newer movies right away. Because a lot of it to me is just like, what a waste of time. This does nothing for me. And then when we're bringing back a franchise 20 some years later, all we're doing is rehashing what has already happened most of the time. And it's just, no, I'd rather watch like, just to go off the top of my head, I'd rather watch a movie like Silver Bullet like 60 times in a row than go watch like half of this new shit that's coming out.
Crazy Gary Busey. Sorry, you tricked me.
You talk, give me two.
Let's see here. Larry says Thanksgiving is awesome. I still haven't seen that yet.
That
Yeah.
was surprisingly good, especially for a modern slasher. And Eli Roth, I think it was very hit or miss. I was pleasantly surprised with that one.
Yeah. I love the trailer from Grindhouse, but yeah, I still haven't seen it. And he
I'd
also
give it
says,
a
yeah, true, not a fan of art, but at least it's keeping horror in the mainstream. Yeah. And you know what? I would rather, even though I haven't seen the Terrifier movies, I would rather see Terrifier Part 4 than this, like you were just saying, reboots of old franchise. I mean, do we really need another I Know What You Did Last Summer? I fucking hated the original one because all that was a ripoff of Scream. I mean, it's just.
I think to answer that question, no, we don't need any of these movies. But these studios need your money. That's what they need. They need your money.
No, they're going to the easiest way to make the money by cashing in on IPs. Sinners is the exception, not the rule. Whereas 30, 40 years ago, Sinners would have been the rule, not the exception. You know what I mean? When they did reboots in the 80s, most of them failed. Okay? The Thing was a flop. The Blob was a flop. The Fly was a sleeper hit. It was not a blockbuster. Okay? But all those movies are beloved now. Okay? Now, it's like, hey, we don't need to all we're looking for is that first target weekend. That first opening weekend. That's all we need. And then we can release it onto streaming. So let's get those butts in that theater that first weekend. And how do you do that? With an IP that they recognize.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Another thing I hear, because like sometimes if I'm watching like baseball or football, you'll get like a 30-second movie trailer thing. Yeah. But then they always say only in theaters on this day. So it's like, come on, man. Like, we're not that stupid, man. It's going to be in theaters the whole damn weekend and so on. But like, that's another thing they say now is only in theaters May 16th. Like, oh, only on that day, huh? Like,
yeah, okay. Let's get back to the good shit. So we're gonna play our first game of the day, man. Top 3, okay? I'm gonna ask you your top 3 of movies of a certain genre, and it's just off the top of your head, okay? So you're not going to be held accountable for this. Nobody's recording this. It's going to hold it against you or whatever. It's just what pops into your head, okay? So, top 3 comedies.
Top 3 comedies. All right. Shit. I got to go Dumb and Dumber. That one's in there. 4 Rooms.
Oh,
got to go with 4 Rooms. That's also like an annual New Year's Eve movie I have to watch like every New Year's Eve.
Deep cut, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
Tim Roth is quite funny in that movie.
Yeah. What other comedy? Damn. Not thinking good off the top of my head here.
Anything, any comedy you like.
I know, just man. Why am I drunk? See, I'm bad with remembering.
Everybody does this.
Yeah. But I said 4 Rooms, Dumb and Dumber. Shit. I'll go Team America, man. That's another one. It's just endless fun. It's just to go off the top of my head. They're the ones I can really think of. But yeah, I got to go with those 3.
Fuck yeah. Okay. Top 3 animated films, and they could be any kind of animated films. So adult or kid.
Not big on a lot of those. I got to go A Nightmare Before Christmas. Another one that's more of a TV special was Disney's Halloween Treat from 1982. It's something I watch every year around Halloween. I used to have it dubbed on a VHS tape, and Disney won't re-release it out of their vault. I don't know why. They could probably make good money off of that, but it's just something I watched ever since I was a kid. And I still like, it's not Halloween unless I watch that. Like, you can watch it on YouTube. It's available on there. It's like actually it's like the clarity on it. So it's a lot better than what you would get on a VHS tape back then. But that's something that's big for me. And animated. I might go with Star Wars, The Clone Wars from 2003. Okay. That's an animated thing there. So Yeah, I'd have to go with those three. But I'm not really big on a lot of animated cartoon stuff, really. Like, at
Yeah.
least I was, obviously growing up I was, but it's not really big on who I am nowadays.
Yeah. I would have said heavy metal, but that's just me because I like big tits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew the first two were going to be a little bit difficult, but these next ones should be kind of easy. These are more in your roundhouse. Top 3 sci-fi films.
Ooh, yeah. Top 3 sci-fi films. Definitely Blade Runner. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Definitely Blade Runner. Sometimes I get confused. You know what? No, all right, I'm going to leave that for something else. I'm not going to mention that one. Star Wars. Definitely Star Wars. I'll go Empire Strikes Back. And would John Carpenter's The Thing be horror or sci-fi horror? Does that go into the sci-fi realm?
Either
there?
or. I'll accept either answer. The protagonist is an alien, or antagonist is an alien. So I would consider it a horror movie, but again, I can understand why some people would consider it science fiction.
All right, let me try to see if I can pull something else out, because I do kind of feel like it is more of a horror movie over a sci-fi, but it's almost sci-fi horror, I guess, whatever. But sci-fi. I'm gonna go with the Terminator. Isn't that like, because like Terminator's always like a slasher movie? But I'm gonna go
Terminator, with the original Terminator. I would classify as a science fiction movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Terminator. Yeah, I'll go with that one.
Okay, but speaking of slashers, top 3 slashers.
Ooh, yeah, that's all right. That can be tough though, man. I love slasher movies, but
again, it's off the top of your head.
All right, I'm gonna go John Carpenter's Halloween.
Not to be confused with David Gordon Green's Halloween.
Oh yeah,
or Rob Zombie's Halloween.
All right, yeah, Halloween. What else we got here? Man, I'm not good at going off the top of my head because I like too many. I like so many damn movies. Jesus Christ. You know what? I'm actually going to go Psycho 2. Psycho
Nice.
2. That's always been a big movie for me since I was a kid. Actually, there's some scenes in that movie that kind of traumatized me too as a kid, catching that on TV. So, like, I am big on the original Psycho, but I did see Psycho 2 first. That was the first one I saw.
So did I.
So I am going to go with Psycho 2. And slashers. See, what I think of slashers, I think is at least someone with a knife, but like isn't Hellraiser considered as a slasher? It's not like, I know it's more like gothic horror. I know I don't know. It's so hard. I mean, some people label things, for their own personal reasons. But all right.
I mean, to me, a slasher is somebody being chased by a killer, and Hellraiser is not that.
Why can't I think of one?
So, people in the chat, if you're ever on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you do not want Sean to be your phone a friend.
I need a lifeline. Give me a lifeline.
Answer, Sean.
Yeah, I'm going to blank. Like, that's the thing. I like so many slashers. I mean,
yeah, I know. That's what makes this fun.
But you know what? Friday the 13th Part 2. Got to go with that one.
Okay, last one. This one should be reasonably easy. Top 3 remakes.
All right. John Carpenter's The Thing. David Cronenberg's The Fly. And I'm going to go with Evil Dead 2013.
Nice. Good answer. See, that wasn't too painful.
No.
real quick here. Carlos, he describes this perfectly. Sinners, I was really surprised on how good it was. Favorite new movie of the year. The color purple meets From Dusk Till Dawn. Yep, absolutely.
Wow. You know, from watching the trailer, I feel like I can kind of get that vibe, except for they actually don't really put that vampire part really in the trailer in a way. It's like you kind of have to discover that on your own, it seems like, once you watch the movie.
And Sean also says Sinners is his pick for best movie of the year. And he also says,
I gotta
wait,
get on that.
the thing wasn't a documentary? Yeah.
I gotta get on
Wild
Sinners.
Kingdom. Hey, Yams here. How you doing, buddy? Thank you so much for being here, my friend. And Larry, for science fiction film, says Blade Runner, Empire Strikes Back, and Wrath of Khan. Yep, all three of them. I love them. And one of your buddies here is here, or Survivor VHS. Thank you so much for being here. Stay frosty. Keep on hunting.
Yeah,
And
59.
Carlos with his second matchup of the day. Movie face-offs. Tango and Cash versus Beverly Hills Cop. That's a no-brainer for me.
I gotta go Beverly Hills Cop.
Me too. Correct answer. I can't fucking stand Tango and Cash. And I know most people love that movie. I hate it. Okay.
I find it to be watchable, but I've never been big on Tango and Cash either. It's, you know.
I just look at having a movie with Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone together and then looking at what came out of it, and it's like, what a missed opportunity. That movie should have been awesome, you know, but that's neither here nor there. Twins versus Kindergarten Cop.
I gotta go Kindergarten Cop. I always enjoyed that one as a kid.
Yeah, I gotta go with Twins. Barely. I'll go with Twins. Stir Crazy versus See No Evil, Hear No Evil. Again, that one's no brainer. I'm going with Stir Crazy.
Yeah, I would go with Stir Crazy, honestly.
But thank you, Carlos. Let's see here.
It's funny though, like all those movies that were just mentioned though are actually movies I haven't watched in such a long time. I would like to go back and revisit everything that was just mentioned there.
Sorry. Hold on.
That's all right.
I hate the settings on StreamYard now, man. You hit something wrong and it like fucks with you. So, all right, let's see here real quickly. Larry says Black Christmas. My Bloody Valentine.
Man. That's the one I should have mentioned, Black Christmas, because it really is one of my favorite slasher movies, and it's not on my mind.
Feely.
God,
Yeah, I'm saying one of my favorite horror films of all time, Inferno, which came out in 1911. Oh, L'Inferno, which came out in 1911. There's two versions. They came out a year longer, shorter version, but I've never heard of it. 1911. Holy shit. Let's see here. Melina says Patrick Swayze turned down roles in Tango and Cash. That is true. Or Yam says Freaks 1932. Yeah, Freaks is, no pun intended, it freaked me out first time I saw that as a kid, man. Sean, Freaks is unsettling in so many ways, not just because of the cast. Great movie. Yeah, absolutely. And Yam is also a big fan of Evil Dead 2013. One of his favorite films of all time. Love that film so much. And our mutual friend Greg is here. Hello, Greg. How you doing, buddy? Thank you so much for being here, bud.
Hey, what's up, Greg?
And Carlos says the Blob remake. Love that one. And the kitchen sink scene. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, even the Booth. Oh man, that movie's great.
I saw that one theatrically by myself one day because I had nothing to do. It was hotter than hell. In the air conditioning where I was staying crapped out. So I went to go see a movie. And that was playing. It was opening day. And I was like, do I even want to go see this? Because I remember how ridiculous I thought the original one was, you know? But I was like, fuck it. And man, within 10 minutes, I was in love with that fucking movie. As soon as I saw Kevin Dillon's mullet from hell, I was like, you know, this is the greatest mullet of all time. When the guy that you think is the lead of the movie gets taken out in the first 15 minutes, you know, it's like, it's just such a great misdirect. I love that movie. Great pick.
Yeah, the boyfriend Paul when like out of nowhere he's getting sucked up by the blob. It really is something that you're like, oh shit, you think it would be the boyfriend and the girlfriend, you know, surviving to the final act, but like that movie does take a 180 there, and it's a real surprise eye opener.
That's what happens when you buy condoms for your friend.
Ribbed.
Rest in peace.
That's like a good scene. That's a good scene. So
that scene is awesome. Greg says, "Rest in peace to Mick Ralphs, a great guitarist too. Great band will be surely missed." Yes, from lead guitarist from Bad Company who passed away. Yeah, absolutely. And let's see here. Yam says, "I was just about ready to mention this. A Boston double bill to watch is the Blob '88 and Phantoms, which came out in '88. Those two are back to back and awesome." And see, now I read your comment wrong originally. Yeah, I was thinking the Blob and Phantasm 2 because I saw both of those movies that summer, and yeah, I love how batshit crazy Phantasm 2 is. Okay, that's going to segue into our next little game here. Best decade. I'm going to ask you again a certain genre of film. You're going to tell me, in your opinion, what you think the best decade for that film is and why. And it could be any decade, going all the way back to the start of film up to this decade. Okay? So you're not railroaded into 70s, 80s, 90s. All right? So, in your opinion, best decade for action films and why?
I'm going to say the 80s. And it's the 80s, man. It's, you know, you were still allowed to do like unsafe stunt work. I mean, my favorite action film of all time is Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. And when you watch like any kind of like, if you own a copy, if you have any kind of like documentary or features on that, and you realize the stunt work that went into that movie and how many crazy stuntmen that were in that shattered bones and broke legs and just
one stunt in particular. One stunt in particular, you know the one I'm talking about, where the guy
when that guy apparently he shattered both of his legs in that scene. But like so many people got hurt making that movie, and you know that sucks when that happens. But like it just really shows the work ethic and what these people are just, you know, they're so dedicated to making these movies. The CGI really came in around Jurassic Park in like '93, but I just think the 80s was just unaltered, you know, and you just got what you see on the screen. Everything is just fucking real and just in your face. And yeah, I think the 80s for action movies was just a real time capsule, and it's something we'll never see again.
Yeah, before I go to the next one, with you telling me that, I immediately thought of Kurt Russell in Death Proof, where he's talking to the girl about the car, and he's like, yeah, back in the days, the all or nothing days, you'd have real guys with real cars driving up against each other. None of that CGI bullshit. None of that. And it's like, yeah, I love that moment in Death Proof because it's absolutely true. And you more or less just said the same exact thing, you know, for why the 80s were such a fun time for film. So good for you.
Like, okay, you know, in a way, like I almost wanted to say 90s because the 90s has a lot of great action films too. But then when I thought about it, I was like, you know, it's the 80s. It really is the 80s, man.
Okay, best, and again, I know you're not a huge fan of this particular genre, but best decade for comedy films.
That's a tough one, man. 90s has a lot of good ones too. Like it's with Jim Carrey in like the early 90s, you know, like Ace Ventura, Cable Guy, Dumb and Dumber. Like a lot of those are hard to ignore, but you know, I am going to go 90s. I'm going to go 90s. I'm going to go 90s with that one.
I figured you would. But, because of your age, I kind of figured you would.
Like, I just feel like as like every year went along, like you got something that was just utterly insanely hilarious. Just like how I mentioned, like with Jim Carrey movies. I mean, I was big on Adam Sandler movies like Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. Like, I mean, I'm even a fan of Little Nicky. I know that's not 90s, but
no, I like Little Nicky. I'm not a huge Sandler fan, but I like Little Nicky. I think it's funny as hell. And they start
Yeah,
doing
it's
the
just
Chicago
so.
record backwards, man. I mean, sell your soul. Whoa, Chicago's awesome.
And like one of my favorite comedies of all time is The Big Lebowski. Like that is just,
Yeah.
I really think that's like, if you had to ask me like what's my favorite comedy of the '90s, I think it is The Big Lebowski. That's just a movie I truly will never get tired of.
Okay, now this one's going to be a little bit harder. Best decade for sci-fi. Because you could make the argument for like just about every decade for sci-fi.
I'm gonna go at '80s on that. I feel like visual effects stepped it up more because like there's a lot of good '70s sci-fi movies. Visually, though, I don't think they really compare to what you would get in the '80s, and I think even visual effects started to improve even a bit more, even in the early '90s. Like even all the way up to like The Fifth Element. What's that? '97, I think The Fifth Element was, or
Somewhere around
'95.
there, yeah. Yeah, somewhere in the
But
mid to late 90s.
I'm going to go with '80s, and Blade Runner being one of my favorite movies of all time, and you get like 5 different cuts of it. Like that's another reason why I like Blade Runner so much. I like every cut of the movie, and visually when I watch that movie, I'm just always just like just just gripped by the movie itself. That movie always mesmerizes me. It just, from the music early on, the look of everything in it. It's just like, sci-fi movies like that was really the heart of it, man.
Yeah.
At least, in my opinion, really. But yeah, I got to go '80s.
Yeah, no, I saw Blade Runner opening night theatrically with my parents because I was a huge Star Wars geek and Indiana Jones geek for that matter. Okay, but I thought it was going to be something along the line of Star Wars. That movie is not. And quite honestly, the first time I saw it, I didn't get it. I was a kid. I was like 14 and going on 15. And outside of Rutger Hauer and the visual effects, I did not like that movie at all. It took me a long time to finally understand and appreciate the meaning behind that movie and what a masterpiece it is, but
Right.
I gotta admit, man, that first time, even my parents were like, what the fuck is this? And I think a lot of it has to, I know you like every cut of the movie. I like every cut of the movie except for the theatrical. And it's because of that fucking narration from
yeah.
It is so bad. And it takes you out of the movie. It just takes you out of the movie. So, but
that is probably the one cut I could go without. But I feel like I could still watch that cut, but it's not like I go back and watch that one often. Sometimes I actually lean a bit more towards the actual director's cut.
Yeah.
I will sometimes go with that, but the international cut? And I like when, when the final cut came out, everyone's like, "Did you see the final cut? Oh, that extra 30 fucking seconds in the movie, big fucking deal." Oh, you got to see the final cut. Like, okay, relax, just a little bit of extra time in it.
I remember when that came out, or the first time that the extended cuts came out, or whatever. And he finds the little unicorn, and then they have that little unicorn sequence, and all these people are like, "No, that proves that he's a robot, and this and that and the other." I'm like, no. That proves that Ridley Scott had a hard-on for unicorns and was thinking about his next movie, which was fucking Legend.
I gotta get a unicorn in here. If they don't ever let me make a Legend movie, at least
or Tom Cruise.
But I think I had that. I have the Digibook edition here with the unicorn on it.
Yeah,
I know it's kind of
fucking unicorn.
And
it's like, I think he was thinking about Legend. So, that's just
speaking of Legend, I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan, but that's one Tom Cruise movie I actually like.
I'll never forget seeing that first time at the drive-in, drunk as fuck, and it was the first movie, so we couldn't see anything. We could hear Tim Curry's voice, but we couldn't actually see him. Okay, because he's in shadow for 90% of the fucking movie. Okay, the only thing we could see clearly was fucking Tom Cruise prancing around in the woods looking for that unicorn, and it was like, what the fuck am I watching? I mean, that's another one that took me a while to warm up to, but visually, that movie's outstanding. And Tim Curry, that's one of his best performances. He's phenomenal as Darkness. He really is. Okay, getting back to my game here. Best decade for drama films.
I'll gotta go 80s. Yeah, 80s. I'll go 80s with that.
Okay.
And I mean, with drama, like, I mean, there's no like real particular reason for that. I just feel like, I don't know, just feel like there's more drama oriented movies from the 80s that were just, I don't know, just have to have more of like a lasting impact over any other decade, really. It's probably like the most I can elaborate on that with.
Gotcha.
Because like to me, really like drama, I don't really put drama like on its own. I usually put like sci-fi drama or action drama or horror drama. I don't really see drama as its own thing. I see it as like a genre that kind of blends in the other genres as like a sub, as you could say.
Gotcha. Okay, this one's going to be the easiest out of the 5, I think, because I'll be shocked if you go with any other answer than what I think you're going to go with. Best decade for horror.
70s.
Oh shit! I'm shocked. I thought
I gotta
sure you were going to go 80s.
I gotta go 70s, man. That the movies were just so fucking scary. The Exorcist. You can, whatever you want to say about Jaws, I don't care. It's got horror elements. It scared the shit out of people. Jesus Christ. Oh man, the 70s were just, they provided good atmosphere and the style and no CGI, no, all the practical effects that you would see in 70s movies, just very convincing stuff. I mean, first time I saw The Exorcist, that made me believe in the fact that there might be a God and a devil. That movie made me believe it. It wasn't resurrection. I mean, it wasn't me going to Catholic school. No, this is not making me believe in God. This movie, The Exorcist, is making me believe in God, though.
No, I thought because you and Roy, Blue Roy Movies, I think, are the only two people that have not said the 80s so far because of the practical effects. And that's usually the reason why people go with the 80s is because of the practical effects. You know, you had Savini, you had all those guys that were like rock stars, and, Chris Wallace and Rob Bottin and, the rest of them. Whereas in the 70s, you had Dick Smith and you had Rick Baker. And that was about it. Right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, but no, fair enough. Good answers. All right. I mean,
it's not even an easy one to answer. It's like, I mean, to kind of just disregard the 80s because it has such good practical effects, but I just feel like the 70s horror movies are just so much more, or not so much more, just a little bit more effective than the 80s.
Well, I will go so far as to agree with you that in the 70s they were more original. They weren't product placement. They weren't fucking assembly line type shit. I love my Nightmare on Elm Streets and my Friday the 13th, but let's face it, those sequels are basically pretty damn repetitive, Right. Whereas in the 70s, you could have a movie like The Exorcist and Black Christmas and Dawn of the Dead and The Omen and some of those, Let's Scare Jessica to Death and Tourist Trap and shit like that. So, yeah, I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. Before we go any further, though, I got to get back to these comments because some of these comments are great. And, yeah, Carlos, I know you got some more questions, but I'll get to it. But I'm going to get to some of these comments first. Yam says, getting back to Freaks. Unfortunately, Freaks is cut. There's no uncut version out there. It got destroyed unless they managed to save some bits that are hidden somewhere. Hopefully, we'll see it in its entirety sometime. I know what you're trying to say. I was always hoping that would be the case with Event Horizon. And apparently that'll never happen because I really wanted to see that uncut. Let's see here. Daniel says, Hollywood kept trying to spread the rumor about multiple stuntmen dying on The Road Warrior. Yeah, I know. When it first came out, they were actually plugging that movie. Kind of that way. Not blatantly, but Mike says, I found out that Charles Bronson did 75% of his own stunts. But have you seen the stunt work in the Mission Impossible movies? Tom Cruise loves doing his own stunts. You know what? People can bitch about Tom Cruise all they want, okay? nobody works harder for their films than at that age than he does. I mean, that guy works his ass off to make sure that his movies come out, the way that he wants them. So again, I don't want to hang out with Tom Cruise. Okay, I don't want to discuss world affairs with Tom Cruise, but I'll certainly watch a fucking movie of his. I mean, some of my favorite movies got Tom Cruise in them. So,
yeah.
It's
I mean,
good.
for me, with Tom Cruise, there's just a small handful of movies of his that I really like, and other times I just feel like punching him. But yeah, he is fucking
I get it.
very. He's highly work. Or his work ethic as an actor is it's top notch. That's undeniable.
Yeah. Daniel says a lot of Hong Kong films had cast members doing shit. Jackie Chan was fucking famous for that shit. Every one of his movies, they would show the bloopers at the end, and he broke his elbow on that one. He broke his ankle on that one. He broke his head on that one. Yam says, I'm not a Quentin Tarantino fan, but there's a documentary I recommend to all film fans, which is Not Quite Hollywood: Untold Story of Oscar Blades. Oh yeah, absolutely. I've seen that movie. I almost said Electric Boogaloo, but that's the Canon doc. No, not Quite Hollywood. Yeah, absolutely. That movie is awesome.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Let's see here. And Larry says, same here. About Blade Runner. Same here, Jim. Coming in as a Star Wars kid, I was bored, but now I just absolutely love it. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be like another James Bond type movie. Star Wars type movie. Larry says, Final Cut is special edition done right. And Daniel agrees with him. And I think we'll all agree with this. Mia Sara, so hot in that movie in Legend. Hell yeah, Mary. Mia Sara is still a beautiful woman. I mean, she is. She's just a beautiful woman. As Sean just said, Mia Sara, so hot in every movie. Absolutely.
I got to agree.
Lots of comments here. Larry says, Dawn of the Dead, Jaws, Omen, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, Halloween, Black Christmas. Yeah, there's heck, even Alien. Yep.
Yeah, exactly, man. All the classics. 70s really, I think, revamped the horror genre and then got it going for the 80s, man.
And then Sean says the horror of the 70s seemed grimier. Yeah, absolutely.
Unless
you're talking about Ghost Ship, and I ain't talking about the shitty 90s Ghost Ship. I'm talking about the old school.
You're talking about
Death Ship.
You
need a tetanus shot watching that fucking movie, man. That is so gnarly.
Yeah. Oh man,
that movie it's just there's rust everywhere, man. It's just gnarly.
Dude, it's like if Chop Top was driving a boat. That would be his boat.
Absolutely.
Welcome to my death ship.
This decade for dramas for me is the 40s, according to Yam. Cruise is trying to beat Jackie Chan's stunt injury records. Yeah, no shit. Freaks originally full count was around 90-ish minutes. Now we got is basically an hour of footage, but the film got cut a lot, castration scenes, etc. Okay, well, I don't want to watch it if it's got that shit in it. Fucking castration scenes. All right, now let me jump back up here to Carlos because he had another good question. I know he was throwing the gauntlet down here. Favorite movie memory you watched on TV, cinema, the video stores, or video store days, and with your home entertainment center? Keeping you on your toes, Jim. How's your memory? Ha, ha, ha. So you want them all? Because if he wants them all, we're going to be here all day. So I would say we'll go this route. Okay, Sean, do you have a favorite cinema memory?
Like in a movie theater cinema? Like my first R-rated movie. I was with my brother one night, and the deal was my brother wanted to go out to the movies with his friends. And my dad was like, you can go, but you got to take your brother with you. I had no idea what we were seeing. This is 1995. We get to the movies, and it turns out my brother's like, we're not paying for this movie. We're sneaking in. So I tell you to move, you got to move. And I'm like, okay, what are we watching though? He's like, we're watching a movie called Dead Presidents. I'm like, okay. So we sneak into the theater. Apparently it's sold out, and we still found seats. But yeah, this is my first real R-rated experience in a movie theater. I was blown away by it. But also what added to it was the fact that I snuck into a movie. That made it
Yeah.
even more thrilling.
Yeah,
Like
that sense of danger. You know?
yeah,
Are we
yeah.
going to get arrested? Am I going to go to jail?
We're gonna get this is gonna be like North Korea treatment, something like that. But
I'm young and fragile to go to prison.
yeah, but there's also a scene in the movie when a guy gets his thing cut off and stuffed into his mouth. I saw that. I was like, what? Why would somebody do that? I was just like, why would somebody cut someone's thing off and stick it in their mouth? Like, oh my god. But yeah, it was just that to me is like really one of my most memorable cinema experiences is being with my brother and him being like, I tell you to move, you got to move. We're sneaking into this movie. Like, oh, great, here we go. What are we watching? It turns out it's an R-rated war movie, with Keith David and some other people. But that's a movie I don't have in my collection. I don't have it in my collection, but that's a movie that probably needs or could benefit from a 4K upgrade at this point is Dead Presidents. Yeah. I think that's a very, decent movie for what that is.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in years, but it's a good movie. It's a solid movie. It's a Hughes Brothers movie, ain't it?
I think you're right. Yeah.
I think that was like their follow-up from Menace to Society or something like that.
We'll take a look at that. But I know Chris Tucker's in that movie. Chris Tucker's in it.
I remember Lorenz Tate was in it.
That's his name, right? But 95. You're right. It was a Hughes Brothers movie.
See, the old man's still pretty good. My favorite cinema memory, and I've talked about this one before. Everybody knows I worked in a movie theater for years, and my favorite all-time cinema moment was sneaking in after work the night before Nightmare on Elm Street came out and watching that fucker after hours in an empty movie theater by myself before anybody else did, and then having to go turn off the boiler at the end of the night before I snuck back out. And truly a terrifying experience that I will never forget, but it's my favorite. Like I said, it's just one of those once in a lifetime things I'll never forget. And that's one of the reasons why to this day Nightmare on Elm Street's my favorite slasher. It just is, so great question, Carlos. I'm not going to go with the rest of them because we'll be here all day. So let me go back down here real quick, make sure I didn't miss anything, and then I'm going to go into some more stuff for you. Daniel says, I remember seeing Dressed to Kill at a very early age. My dad dropped his soda to distract us during one of the scenes.
Oh, shit. That's another one that's got
to explain to you, hey, Daniel, at the end of the movie, when Nancy Allen is explaining to Keith Gordon how the sex change operation goes, did your dad have to keep you calm during that? Because I saw that movie when I was 17, and I was like, ah! I thought that scene was more disturbing than anything else.
Yeah, man.
Okay, next game. This one's always fun. Little game I call Overrated, Underrated, where you tell me a movie that just about everybody loves, that you think you don't necessarily have to hate it, but you think it's overrated as hell. And the flip side is one that everybody says, that movie sucks. And you're like, no, man, this movie's actually great. And here's why. So I'll give you a moment to think about those, and then you can tell me what your answers are.
So it's going to be like two movies then, right?
Yes. The first one is the overrated one, and then the underrated one.
Overrated, I'm probably going to have to go with Scream. Honestly.
The original?
The original, even though that is the only movie I can tolerate out of the whole damn shit-stained franchise. But yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like the movie starts out very well. It has those perfect elements for a slasher. But it all becomes unserious goofball bullshit. And it just, I don't think the movie is scary again once Drew Barrymore is killed. Once she's killed, there's nothing thrilling. There's nothing scary. It's and then the fact that you kind of have like multiple killers, and then the franchise can never decide who the fucking killer is. So what is the identity of Ghostface? Does he have an identity? Nope. He's just a dead fucking character, if you ask me. But yeah, I think Scream and its franchise is just way overhyped.
Okay,
And just way overrated. And I don't think it's that good.
Fair enough. Okay, now flip side of that. How about a movie that just about 99% of the people just think is a piece of shit, and you're like, no, man, this movie's great. And it can't be one of these little exploitation movies. We're talking like a major release.
Like a franchise kind of movie, I guess.
Well, it doesn't have to be a franchise. It could be a standalone movie. Okay, I mean, for all I know, you could be talking about, something like Barbie. That people are like, hey, Barbie sucks. And you're like, hey, fuck you, man. But I know that ain't the answer.
Man, it's going to be a tough one right here. I'm going to have an answer, but
I always go with Hudson Hawk, Jason X, shit like that.
Right. Man, Troll 2, that's a hard one to defend. Oh, man. All right. Movie that people seem to hate that I enjoy. I'm usually with the people that hate the fucking movies. So,
yeah, I know. I did that fucking review of Salem's Lot remake, and you were the only one that came back at me going, did we watch the same movie?
I could not believe they had the balls to be like, you know what? We're going to take the drive-in theater, and it's blocking out the sun, and that's why the vampires are surviving right now. You viewers are fucking stupid and can't figure that out. Like, oh, you motherfucker. And then just on top of that, the wait for that movie. We waited so long for that movie. The fans, we wanted to see that. It kept getting pushed back. Yeah. And then we got the final product, just fucking total dog shit.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I will totally give you that. See, I knew that would set you off. It's like you saying, hey man, Dirty Dancing's a great movie. I'd be like, fuck you, man, you don't know what you're talking about.
But oh man. It's see, in my personal opinion, it seems like a lot of people don't like Silent Night, Deadly Night, the original.
Okay. That's actually a great answer because I'm one of those people who doesn't like that movie. So go ahead.
Yeah, I got to go with Silent Night, Deadly Night, the original. And, obviously all the controversy that came with that movie when it came out and everything. It was pulled from theaters, I think, like a week or two after its release. But, I mean, a lot of people seem to miss the fact that if it would have stayed in theaters, it was doing so good, it actually would have beat out A Nightmare on Elm Street at the box office. It would have, but all the mothers showed it up with all their picketed signs, and you want to make horror movies about this, that, and the other thing, that's fine, but you don't fuck with Christmas, motherfuckers.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
these are the same people that at that time are killing each other on Black Friday trying to get their kids' Cabbage Patch dolls and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The 80s was a crazy time, man. It was a crazy fucking time.
I think Silent Night, Deadly Night is just a very fun, simple holiday slasher to not take seriously. I mean, at one point, Linnea Quigley gets hooked up on a rack of horns with her yits hanging out. Jesus Christ, how much more brilliant can you get than that? But the movie is just, it's a very simplistic slasher.
Yeah.
A kid's family is killed on Christmas Eve. He survives. The whole experience is traumatic for him. He becomes an orphan. He ends up growing up in an orphanage. He has these issues with Santa Claus. And when he sees Santa Claus and when Christmas comes around, he becomes triggered. And over time, that triggering makes him want to go kill people and dress up as Santa. I just think a lot of people take it just a little. I think some people take it a little too seriously. Like, that movie's trash, this, that, and the other thing. Like, yeah, it's not an award-winning. It's not an award-winning movie. but it's fucking fun.
Yeah, I wasn't like offended by it. I just didn't like it. Although the scene with Linnea Quigley, like you said, being impaled on the antlers, hell yeah, man, that scene's awesome. You know, the one thing that drove me crazy about that movie, the whole punish. I mean, that shit got a little bit old. It was right up there with Evil Dies Tonight. You know, I mean, it got on my last fucking nerve. You know, so but no, great answers. Great answers. I'm going to jump back into the comments before I get your next, because I got a couple more for you, and the next one's going to be a good one for you where you have to put your thinking cap on. Let's see here. Carlos says, one last movie face-off, original versus remake. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Wait, let me read that.
Do you want the Texas Chainsaw Massacre original or remake?
Original all day.
Yeah, I'll go with the original. How about?
But I do like the remake. Though. I do enjoy the remake for that, but I have to go with the original. Hills Have Eyes, or Hills Have Eyes, or The Evil Dead. The original, right? It's the
original property versus the remake. So the Hills Have Eyes, original Wes Craven one versus the Hills Have Eyes remake, and the Evil Dead original Sam Raimi versus the 2013 one that you like so much. That's what he's getting at.
Okay, so, I'm actually going to go with the Hills Have Eyes remake, even though I really do like Wes Craven's film a lot, the 77 film. Evil Dead, I'm going with the 81 original, definitely. I definitely like that original trilogy right there is just classic. That's nothing can top that. But I mean, it seems like when people if they want to talk about the original Evil Dead, they usually go with I like the second one better. I like Army of Darkness better. I still think the original 81 movie is scary as fucking hell. Mm-hmm. Very effective atmosphere. It even has stop motion claymation scenes in it that I think are still effective over a lot of effects we get today. Yeah. So I'm going to go remake with Hills Have Eyes, but I'm staying with the original Evil Dead.
Okay. Now everybody knows how much I fucking hate remakes and reboots. Okay. And when it comes to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'll stick by that. I'm not a huge fan of the first movie. It's one of those movies that I appreciate more than I actually enjoy. But I did not like the remake at all. Arlie Army, I thought was awesome in that movie. But other than that, I did not like that movie at all. The Hills Have Eyes, though, I will agree with Sean. I love that remake. I think it was so much better than I thought it would be. And again, the original one is one of those movies that I admire more than I enjoy. The Evil Dead one, that's hard because I really enjoy that remake, but that Sam Raimi original, man. I mean, I got to go with you. Oh, we also forgot. What about It? The remake of It or the original miniseries?
The original miniseries, like Tim Curry. Even though Tim Curry, as far as the horror genre goes, maybe his filmography is kind of short in that way, but him and, as Pennywise, Darkness, I actually think Curry's most underrated role is for the Tales from the Crypt episode, Death of Some Salesman, when he's playing the wife, the husband, and the daughter, those backwoods, grimy people. I think that's his most underrated role he's ever done. I think that's his best role he's ever done.
He's backing up on Ed Begley Jr.
Oh, we got a salesman here, huh?
Oh, wait. Right there, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's the golden one. That's my favorite television series of all time. It's Tales from the Crypt. I love
Tales
that.
From the Crypt, man. As much as I love Tim Curry in it, I got to go with It Chapter 1 because of those kids. They were so goddamn good in it. I mean, It Chapter 1, I think, is one of the top 10 Stephen King adaptations, period. Chapter 2, on the other hand, kind of falls apart, but you could say the same thing about the miniseries. The first part of the miniseries, when the kids are in there, it's fine. Once the adults get into the game, it's not. It's okay. You can watch it, but it's not as scary, because they're fucking adults now.
Yeah.
There's just a different level of horror when it's a kid as opposed to an adult. If that makes any kind of sense, you know what I mean? But
that makes sense.
Great one, Carlos, and he also says, "Good seeing Sean again on the tube. Thought you left, Jim. I'll drop you an audio." Oh, awesome. And speaking of Carlos, since he may or may not still be here, I want to throw one more plug on Monday. The 30th, I will be joining Carlos, Jeff from 101 Bronson, and Dan from the Talking Movies live stream on Dan's channel at 1 p.m. Central Time. The four of us are going to be discussing our top 10 action films. So if you guys could join us on Dan's channel, I'm going to be leaving links on my channel to all that. So, Carlos, thank you so much for being here, buddy. I always appreciate your support and friendship, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for the questions there, Carlos.
Yeah, Carlos is one of those. He's a real one. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Says, when I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we had a guy in the theater who would make the chainsaw noise every time before it got used. We laughed like crazy.
God.
Okay, Sean, not you, Sean. My Sean. Who's the singer? Who's the singer of Jackal? Because that's what I was thinking. He was in the audience with Daniel. Because yeah. You know what I'm talking about? I'm a lumberjack, baby. Okay. Tim Curry is great in almost everything. Tim Curry is one of those actors that elevates everything he's in, period. He's just one of those guys.
Yep.
Ryan's here. Hey, Ryan, how you? Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Another thing about Tim Curry, but like another thing about Tim Curry, he was never afraid to get in a body cast. He was like, if he had to do a role, like it's another thing, him playing, Darkness and Legend with those giant horns on his head. Yeah. I wonder how many people auditioned for that role. When they found out they had to wear those horns, they were probably like, nah, I'm not doing that shit. But yeah. Tim Curry, he would never turn down a prosthetic, a full body cast, none of that. He would be up for the challenge all the time. And obviously nowadays he's just not physically able to, be an actor like he was. That's a shame, man.
No, I mean, I've never been a huge fan of Rocky Horror Picture Show. To me, it's always been more about the experience of seeing that movie with a crowd as opposed to the movie itself. But Tim Curry is fearless in that movie. And that was obviously one of the first things I ever saw him in. And it was like, holy shit, I don't know who this guy is. He's prancing around, I should be repulsed by this. But instead, I'm like, I'm not turned on by it. But I'm like, holy shit, this guy's got guts, man. I mean, what a performer.
Right.
And he brought that energy to everything he ever played. Everything. It could be a stupid movie like Home Alone 2 where he's playing the butler or concierge or whatever. Or Hunt for Red October where he's got a small part, but it's still, he was just one of those guys. Sean, oh shit, I know who you mean, but I hate that band. Okay. Oh, Jesse James Dupree. I had to look it up. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Here's a quick question for you. Did you ever see a movie with Tim Curry in it from 1978? It's a British horror film called The Shell. You ever see that?
Does that got Ellen Yates in it?
John Hurt is in it. Susanna York. No.
I'm thinking of a different movie. No, I don't think.
Oh no, Alan Bates is in it. John Hurt. Yeah,
Alan Bates. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Yates. I'm sorry,
Yates. I did say Yates, but I meant Bates. Yes.
All right, but Bates. Yeah, Alan Bates, John Hurt, Susanna York, Robert Stevens, and Tim Curry. I found that on TV one night, just randomly. I'm like, what the fuck is this movie? It's so bizarre, but it's just like, one of those hidden gems with Tim Curry in it. Well before, he was recognized in movies like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, that was a movie that I probably saw. I know I've seen it, but we're talking like HBO 1981. Okay, so I mean, this is years ago.
Yeah.
Because back then, this is when cable first came in Illinois. Okay, we had HBO, the movie channel, and the day during the summer. Blue Sunshine. You ever see that movie?
Yeah, I have that one on DVD. That's a bizarre one. That's a real bizarre one.
Okay. The Clonus Horror. How about the Clonus Horror?
That doesn't ring a bell.
I mean, lots of goofy shit like that. Yeah. Looker. I mean, all kinds of like weird shit that it's like I saw back in the day because I'd watch everything. And I know I've seen it, but I've just got trace elements of memory in my brain as far as these movies were.
Yeah, I mentioned The Shout because it's a movie no one ever talks about, and we were talking about Tim Curry, so I was like, let me see if he knows this movie. But it even has a bizarre poster art. Like that's like the poster art for it.
Give me the gooch, give me the gooch, give me the gooch. Sorry, everybody, that's a private joke between us.
Yeah. Give me the gooch, give me the gooch, give me the gooch.
Give me the gooch. Daniel says he did a video game series called Red Alert. Awesome. Also in the movie Clue, yeah, that's one of his most iconic roles.
Right. Yeah.
And Daniel says, yeah, he's seen that movie. It's a good, weird movie. And he must remember those other ones I was mentioning because he says Looker was great. And the only thing I remember about Looker was Albert Finney and Susan Day, who was on the Partridge Family as Laurie Partridge or whatever, and it was models. They had some sort of ray gun that they shoot in people's eyes or whatever. And the next thing you know, these people are jumping out of windows and shit. That's about it, you know. Oh, I got to acknowledge Barry, my good friend Barry, the president of the Steven Seagal fan club, is in the house. Hello, Barry. Thank you so much for being here. It's not a show unless you're here. So thank you so much. Okay. I asked this to one of my other guests, and I should have asked it to a couple of my other guests because you are now, as far as I know, the third guest on my show from the Philadelphia area. As you can see from all the Philly sports stuff behind you. As a matter of fact, Kenny, our mutual friend Kenny, when he first started seeing your content, you would always be wearing your Flyers jersey, and he'd be like, you know, coming in his pants because he was so happy that you were wearing Philadelphia shit. So.
Yeah.
See, I can say that because Kenny's not in the audience. So anyway.
You know, it's like I actually knew I found Kenny's channel before like I ever knew you. And it was from just mostly like, he would do like movie haul videos and stuff. And I'd be watching his videos, and then sometimes he would talk about the Eagles or the Phillies, and I'd be like, I guess this guy's from Philadelphia if he's talking about these Philly teams. And that's how I was able to catch on to that. And then eventually I saw you hooking up with him to do streams with, you know, Movie Assault and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mr. Dan in horror is also in the Philadelphia area, and I completely forgot about that when he was on. But I did ask Kenny this question. There's been lots and lots and lots of movies set in the city of Philadelphia. Outside of the Rocky films, which one's your favorite?
You're asking me, right?
You're the Philly
that's
fan.
An easy one.
You're the Philadelphia
That's an easy
guy.
one. That's an easy one for me. 12 Monkeys.
Awesome pick. I forgot that was even set in Philadelphia. Yeah, that is outstanding.
But I mean, there is some scenes where it takes place in Baltimore, but generally, it's mostly filmed in Philadelphia. But I just love that scene when Bruce Willis is coming out of the sewer hole, and it's downtown Philadelphia City Hall, and there's a fucking bear. Yeah. And it's snowing outside. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God. Like looking at, when I pass by City Hall, I always think of that scene. Like, man, they were filming this shit, making it all like apocalyptic looking with a bear and everything.
No, that's
but yeah,
fantastic.
12 Monkeys. 12 Monkeys is the one that really comes to mind because also there is a few scenes that are filmed near like the Kensington area. And I grew up in a neighborhood outside of there. So, like, that kind of, like, stands out to me. There's also another movie here that no one ever talks about with Tom Skerritt in it called Fighting Back.
Oh, I love that movie. That's another one of those early HBO movies.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Death Wish type of movie, absolutely. Like that. And this movie was filmed in Kensington before it turned into an open air drug market, and also known as Zombieland. Like, this is when the neighborhood was nice, and they made a movie there and everything. It's funny, like the park they actually filmed this at is called McPherson Park. Nowadays, it's called Needle Park. Wow. For reasons, because of the open air drug market. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely a favorite too. But I got to go 12 Monkeys. 12 Monkeys is definitely my favorite one, set in the Philadelphia area.
Yeah, 12 Monkeys. I love that movie. That's my favorite. That's my favorite Terry Gilliam movie, and it's my favorite Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt performance. It's not my favorite movie from those two, but I think it's their best performance, both of them. I think both of them are outstanding in that movie. So yeah, great pick. Let's flip that. Is there a Philadelphia movie that you just don't like at all?
Not really. And guys, just you got to forgive me for this. I am a fan of Rocky, but when you live here in Philadelphia and it's bam, 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 and it's Rocky this, it's Rocky that, it's like, yo, shut the fuck up. God damn, all in the fucking place. But I guess I like the Rocky franchise. I watch those movies. I just hate when it's always like, oh, the Eagles are playing, and it's football playoffs are here. Rocky and blah blah. It's just like Rocky's got nothing to do with this, man. Like it becomes very tiresome when you live in Philadelphia and you're just hearing Rocky and it's all in your face.
I get it.
And you know what else is crazy? Like the actual Rocky house where like it was filmed at, people will actually pay a well-known tourist or a tour guide, I mean, to go see the Rocky house. Why would you go do that? If you did your research, if you know anything about the Philadelphia area or where the Rocky house is, that is the most popular block in Philadelphia to go buy crack cocaine. So to go visit that house, you have to sit there and battle with drug dealers just to go get a fucking picture. Like, I'm not kidding you, dude. If you walk up to that house, 1818 Tusculum Street, and you start taking pictures, a drug dealer will come up to you and be like, what the fuck are you doing here, dude? Like, they will be in your face right away. Like, but I've heard people. But I've heard of people I've talked to people before that have paid a tour guide. Like, oh, I went and saw the Rocky house. I'm like, really? Like, you know, that's like the most popular block for crack cocaine in the city, right? Like, maybe that's why the tour guide was so quick to get us out of there. You know,
that is hilarious. I
can't believe people will pay money to go see a crack dealer's house nowadays. Like, what the fuck?
Monday, I'm doing that show with Carlos and Dan and Jeff is a huge Stallone Rocky fan. Okay, people say that they want to come. He lives in the Netherlands, and people from Europe that want to come to America, they want to go to Vegas or the Grand Canyon or where. He's like, fuck that. I want to go to Philadelphia to see that goddamn Rocky statue. So I got to make sure I tell him Monday before the show, hey, man, if you ever make that trip to Philadelphia, don't go to the Rocky house. According to the locals, it's a crack.
No, definitely go see the statue. The statue is in the right place where it should be, all monuments, but don't go to the Rocky house.
No, Jeff would be the type of guy who would do the entire tour, you know, just check out everything Rocky involved. I mean, he's a Rocky fanatic. You know, Carlos loves taking the piss out of him, saying that, you know, Raging Bull is a better movie than Rocky, just to get a rise out of him. He doesn't even really believe that. He just says it just to piss him off. I mean, oh yeah, it's great. It's fucking great. Real quick here.
That Rocky house, I'm serious, dude. Like, you walk up to that house, a drug dealer will come up to you right away and be like, what do you want? What are you doing here? If you ain't buying, get the fuck out of here. Like, they'll tell you that shit right away. If you don't get out of there, they're gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, when you were bitching about, you know, how anytime anything Philadelphia related, they got to blare out that fucking Rocky theme. Okay, and I get it to a lesser extent, being a Chicago guy. Okay, even though I didn't live in the city of Chicago, I lived in the suburbs. since 1980. Anytime anybody mentions anything about Chicago related, they got to play Sweet Home Chicago from the fucking Blues Brothers. And again, I love the Blues Brothers, okay? It's one of my favorite musical comedies, definitely, of all time. I don't ever want to hear that goddamn song in context of anything but that movie ever again. You know what I mean? It's like, there is more than one song. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
All right. Sean does not want the image of Kenny coming in his pants in his head. I think we're all in agreement of that, Sean. Oh, thank you, Daniel. You're awesome, man. I appreciate that, my friend. He agrees 12 Monkeys is great. And he vaguely remembers the Clonus horror, I believe. Fighting Back was on HBO. And yeah, early 80s, that one was in there a lot. On the left is a crack house. On the right, drug dealers.
That's a shame that's what that's like, though, man. Because, like, yeah, people just want to get a picture of the house, and drug dealers are like, what are you doing here? Like, right away, they'll ask you, like, what are you doing here? You ain't buying. Get the fuck out of here. Like, right away.
Dude, I remember people talking about Candyman when it first came out, okay, about how scary Candyman was. And I'm like, as somebody who grew up in those suburbs, okay, I'm a White Sox fan, which was that they're on the south side of Chicago, okay? Right. Directly across from the highway is Cabrini Green, where they filmed that shit, okay? And I'm telling you, a dude with a hook on his hand is nothing compared to anything else in Cabrini Green at the time. I mean, they finally took those towers down, okay? But back in the day, you wouldn't be – people always say, you know, I wouldn't walk around there when the sun goes down. I wouldn't walk around there when the sun's out, man. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. The cops wouldn't even go to this place back in the day. I mean, it was that bad. And if you listen to the commentary on Candyman, they had to get deals made with local gang dealers to not fuck with them while they were filming and shit. They had to pay off local gangbangers because the cops wouldn't come in there. I mean,
yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, I mean, you know, from that perspective, as a drug dealer, you're fucking with their money. That's their time. Yeah. All right, what are you going to do for me? Well, I'm not just going to take off a day here because you guys want to make a movie. We'll go to war. Right?
Fuck your movie. Build this. Bam, 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 bam.
I believe that. But, like, actually, I remember back in 1994, this is after Candyman, I actually took a trip out to Chicago for 2 weeks. Went out there. I went to 2 Cubs games and 1 White Sox game when we were out there. So one of the reasons why we went is because my dad had friends that lived out there. And the one guy we were going to visit, his wife was a stewardess for U.S. Air. She was able to get me and my brother free plane tickets, but my dad had to pay for his. Yeah. So he was getting a deal for all 3 of us to get on this plane. It was like a 2-hour plane ride. But yeah, we stayed at I forget the hotel we stayed at. It was like right across the street from the John Hancock building. And we just, you know, did all the, you know, went to the beach where Michigan Lake is. And man, that fucking lake is huge, man.
Yeah, Lake Michigan's huge.
Yeah, but you know, we enjoyed the time out there. We only had 1 rainy day out of 3 weeks. Yeah, I really do like Chicago style pizza, the deep dish. I really like that shit, man. That's good.
Yeah. I'll go so far as to say I like cheesesteaks. I just don't like the Cheese Whiz version. I'd rather have the provolone. You know,
right? No, again, that's fine.
That's just you know, personal taste. You know, I like Cheese Whiz. On that steak, I'd rather have the provolone. Okay.
I would rather just have the straight American on a cheesesteak. Now, Cheese Whiz, I like Cheese Whiz more on French fries than a cheesesteak.
Right. I'm right there with you. Okay. You are stranded on a desert island that some reason has electricity, a working TV, and a working Blu-ray player. You have 3 movies that you are able to have to keep you from going totally insane. What are those 3 movies?
First one's got to be Creepshow. One of my old-time favorite horror movies, favorite horror anthology. I got to go with that one. I mean, I even think Something to Tide You Over would be perfect, too, to be watching on a desert island.
Hold your breath, Richard.
Yeah, I gotta go with that one. Blade Runner. not like I said, you know, it's really up there as one of my favorite movies of all time. I got to go with Blade Runner, and I'm gonna go Jaws.
Nice.
Yeah, those are like really like three of my favorite films right there, like all time. So I got to go with those three.
Yeah, no, all three of those are solid for sure. Okay, same scenario, except your Blu-ray player took a shit, or actually your TV took a shit, but you do have a stereo system. You got 3 CDs or 3 albums that you can choose from, and it could be a greatest hits CD, it could be a live CD, it could be whatever. What are your 3 Desert Island CDs?
Oh, wow. All right.
I know you're a music guy, so.
Yeah. So we can go with movie soundtracks too, right?
Sure, absolutely.
All right. I'm going to go with the soundtrack from Trainspotting.
Nice.
Got to go with that one.
Such a perfect day.
I love that movie. So that is another like movie for me. But I love the soundtrack for it. I'm gonna go with thinking of like bands actually right now. I don't know if you ever heard of a band called ISIS. There's a band called ISIS,
but I'm not really familiar with it.
They're like metal oriented, kind of like doom metal in a way, I guess you could say. But there's an album they have. It's the band's called ISIS. The album's called Oceanic. That from front to end is just such a perfect album. To me, it's a masterpiece. So I got to go with that one. And I'm actually going to go with the soundtrack for Day of the Dead, 1985. That is a soundtrack I listen to very often, and I never skip a track. It's such a long soundtrack too. There is like movie soundtracks I'll listen to. A lot of times I'm like, I gotta skip this track. It's just not good at, like, a lot of movie soundtracks from beginning to end. I find myself skipping sometimes, but Day of the Dead is a damn near perfect soundtrack. So those 3 right there, I could easily listen to and never get tired of. The Trainspotting soundtrack, ISIS, Oceanic, that album, and Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead soundtrack.
Outstanding answers. I mean, I didn't even think about the Day of the Dead soundtrack, but as soon as you mentioned it, the score immediately popped into my head. I mean, between the bongos in the background, you know, and stuff. Hello. You know, I can picture the music in my head. So yeah, great answer. And Trainspotting. Trainspotting's, I love that fucking movie so much.
You know what's funny with Trainspotting? Like, there's times when I'm like, I gotta go, like, you know, prep up my beard, do shaving and stuff, and I'm getting in the shower. I put that soundtrack on, and I don't fucking miss a beat on. I listen to the whole soundtrack. A lot of times I would just be like, I don't know what to put on. Let's put on this Trainspotting soundtrack because it's always satisfying to me. Yeah. No, it's such a versatile soundtrack. It's such a great mix of different genres.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great soundtrack without a doubt. Okay. There's been a lot of discussion lately about the future of movies, not only theatrically because of all the streaming services and the short windows from theatrical to streaming or whatever. Okay. But by and large, what do you think the next 5-10 years of physical media is going to look like? Do you think it's going to continue? Do you think it's going to thrive? Do you think it's going to slow down? What are your thoughts?
I don't think physical media is going anywhere. I think it is going to continue. But like, where does the line get drawn when it's like, all right, we've already released the standard 4K of this movie. We already released the steelbook of this movie. Like, how many more editions are you going to keep releasing? Like, almost like with Walmart. They keep releasing the same edition, but hey, we got new slipcovers. Right. Hey, we got new slipcovers. Every year we got new fucking slipcovers. Slipcovers all over the fucking place. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm just at the point now where I don't really like. I like slipcovers. I like them a lot. If I can't get them, life goes on, because the only thing that matters to me is what's on that disc. That's all that matters. But I think physical media is always going to be around. You see these stupid videos. Physical media is dying, or is physical media dying? Like, as long as you're buying it and you're seeing people making videos for them buying it, what are you talking about it dying for? Because it's not. It's clearly not dying. Now, here's a
A lot of
question.
those videos are clickbait, man. A lot of those are.
I know. I don't pay any mind to that shit anymore. Like 2-3 years ago, I used to like be like, damn, is it really dying? Holy shit. Now I'm like, no, let's cut this bullshit out. But now here's one thing I think we might see in the future, is the fact that we have 8K TVs.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to see 8K releases in the future?
That's
5 to 10 years? Because if that happens, I'm sorry, I'm not buying 8K fucking movies and starting over again with all this recollecting. Because, I mean, at this point with 4K, the only time I buy 4K is if it's a movie that's like, all right, this is a big movie for me. Or if I find it for like $9.99 or less. That's the only way I really jump on the 4Ks. Because a lot of the 4Ks will come with the Blu-ray anyway. So why not?
Right. Yeah, the only 4Ks that I own, actually, because I don't have a 4K player. All right. But the only 4K, but I do own some 4Ks, but they're a combo. They come with the Blu-ray, and that was the only way I could get the Blu-ray. Excuse me. Or like you said, Train to Busan, which is a phenomenal film, okay? I didn't own it. I was going to buy it on Blu-ray. I saw it at Walmart one day with the 4K Blu-ray combo pack for $9. I was like, yoink, right in the cart. You know what I mean? So, Total Recall.
That's a good deal.
I mean,
that's a good deal for that one.
Yeah, Total Recall is the same thing. It was like, I could get the Blu-ray for $10, or I could get the 4K Blu-ray combo for the same price. Well, it's a no-brainer. I'll go with the 4K. So
right, exactly, yeah.
But yeah, the reason why I didn't go with 4K player is exactly what you just said about 8K, because I keep thinking I'll start all over again, and about the time that I start amassing it, they'll come out with 8K, and then and it's like, fuck that shit, man. I have been through this process so many times. I'm not getting any younger. I'm certainly not getting any richer. Okay. And like I told Sean and Kenny on one of our shows way back in the day, I love Blu-ray. Okay. If you got a decent enough system and a decent enough TV, Blu-ray's fine to me. I watched Apocalypto, and I'm seeing a leaf on a tree 30 meters in the distance, is clear as day. What, that 4K I can see one at 40 yards? Fuck that. I don't need that shit. I mean, Blu-ray looks better than anything I've seen other than theatrical release upon release. And even now, theatrical releases are done digitally. So I would go so far as to say 4K is better, or Blu-ray is better. But that's
right.
Just me. So
I know, I agree. I mean, if you ask me what format I think is the best, that what movies really benefit from, I think Blu-ray is perfectly fine. Now, some movies do look good in 4K. Other ones look like, what the fuck happened? Why is it red? Like, or even like The Exorcist.
Those Cameron 4Ks when they came out, people were losing their shit. Oh, I don't remember if it was Aliens or The Abyss, but it was one of them. And people were up in arms saying it looks like shit.
It was Aliens.
AI to color do this and do that, and it looks like shit. And it's like, I don't know. I got both of those movies on Blu-ray, and they look fine.
Yeah. Well, apparently the issue was mainly with Aliens. I have both of those 4Ks, and The Abyss. It's flawless. It looks beautiful. It actually has clarity now. You can actually see the movie, unlike the DVD. Now, the Aliens one, yeah, you can kind of see where some of the issues are. But it's not as bad as some people were making it out to be. And some people were like, James Cameron, I will come to your house and fucking kill you.
Yeah, I know.
No, death threats over 4K transfer, really? Like, come on, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I was seeing a lot of that shit too.
But just like a quick example, Dario Argento's Suspiria in 4K, because it's such a vivid, colorful movie. That's a movie, in my opinion, that benefits from a 4K transfer.
Right.
Now, a lot of times a 4K scan on a Blu-ray, that bumps it up a little bit. Usually that's just good enough.
Yeah.
But there is just certain movies, like even Blade Runner's another one on 4K. I feel like that benefits from 4K, but I don't need every movie on 4K. The only way I'm ever going to buy certain 4Ks if it's a big movie that stands out for me, or if I'm finding it for a cheap price. That's it.
Right. Amen. Okay, real quickly, I gotta say hello here. Alan's here. Alan, hi Jim. Greetings from Dublin, Ireland. Thank you so much for being here, Alan. I really appreciate it. And he says his Desert Island movies are Dracula 1958, the original Superman, and Close Encounters, all indelibly burned into my brain since I was 12 years old. Yeah, Superman I saw theatrically when I was 11, and that one, you will believe a man can fly, and I did. I mean, it was one of those movies. 8K and then 12K. Yep.
Yeah.
Same here. Train is fantastic. Peninsula is not.
Yeah, that was a bummer, right?
God. Oh, here we go. I accidentally bought the 4K of the Monkey from Amazon, and honestly, I doubt I'd be able to tell the difference if you have switched the discs halfway through. Yeah, I got the Blu-ray of the Monkey, and it's fine. I don't need it in 4K. True Lies. Now, that one I do own, but again, I don't own a 4K player, so I just watched the Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray looks great. So,
yeah, it's all about personal preference, you know, what's good enough for you.
Suspiria would be excellent 4K.
Yo, it is. It really
Total
is.
Recall on 4K just for the Blu-ray. Yeah, I own that one just for the Blu-ray as well. Okay, so
and that Blu-ray, that 4K, that Total Recall, the actual Blu-ray has a 4K scan on it, which kind of bumps up.
And it looks great. It looks great on my system. You know, I've watched it a couple of times, and that's another one. I saw that movie day one. Granted, I was tripping balls, and that was a mistake, but it didn't look as good that day as it did on that Blu-ray. You know, it's just phenomenal transfer. So,
you know what's funny about Total Recall is the first time I saw it, I was watching it on TV, and my mom walks out during the 3 titty scene. And she's like, "What are you watching? Get this off the TV." I'm like, "God damn it." She had to walk in during the 3 titty damn scene. Like, hate when that shit would have happened as a kid. Like, I'm trying to watch this movie, man. Like, fuck. But yeah, that was my experience with that. But go ahead.
No, I'm just saying the 4K transfer that they did for that Blu-ray looks great. It really does.
Yeah.
Some movies don't have 4K. Yeah, a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies that don't have Blu-ray, and they need to be on Blu-ray. I mean, I've done a couple of videos about that on my channel. I mean, I'm still waiting for a proper release of Near Dark.
Well, there was a Blu-ray. It went out of print. That was the problem.
But it wasn't a very good transfer, and the fucking cover looks like something out of Twilight.
Yeah, exactly right.
You know?
Like one movie I still need to pick up that I've been bitching about was David Fincher's Panic Room. It finally got a Blu-ray.
Yeah,
I think it has I think it's a 4K Blu-ray, and it comes in like a steelbook for some reason. But I need to pick that up because that's one of my favorite movies right there. Panic Room.
I was lucky to find that one on DVD because that one's even hard to find at this point. You know, that DVD's been out of print forever. But
that DVD is one of those super bit ones.
Yes,
and it looks like shit. It looks bad.
Yeah, I know. But it still looked better than the VHS. So But anyways, everybody in the chat, we are going to be wrapping up soon. We're coming up on the 2 hours, but we're not done yet because I've got at least one more good question for you. 3 holy grail films. Now, by that, I mean not your favorites or anything along those lines. What I mean, what are 3 films that to you are untouchable, that they better never been remade or reimagined or anything? No sequels, nothing. So like Blade Runner, for instance, wouldn't count because they did the Blade Runner sequel to it. You know what I mean? Or The Thing wouldn't count because that is a remake. But 3 standalone films that, in your opinion, are untouchable.
Gotta find this one so I can show you guys what I'm talking about here.
And in the chat, please tell me what your 3 would be as well.
Where is my damn release for that? here.
While you're looking, I'll go to the comments here. Daniel says, thanks again. No, thank you, Daniel. You're awesome, buddy. And Alan says, bizarrely, older movies seem to benefit more when transferring to the 4K format. Hitchcock's North by Northwest is phenomenal. Yeah, I've heard about that. And I also heard the Dirty Harry 4K is supposed to look phenomenal as well. But thank you for your comment, Alan. And Daniel says that one of his holy grail would be Brazil. Okay, what you got there, Sean?
All right, I got 3 here. So first one I'm going to go with, which is another one I did mention this one already throughout the stream, but it really is just up there as one of my all-time favorite horror movies, horror anthology in general, and that's Creepshow.
Okay. Yeah,
so,
there's been spin-offs to that, but I'll let that one fly.
Oh, you know what? Because it has sequels. All right, so you're talking about like standalone stuff, right? All right, let me put that one out.
Like for instance, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Okay, that's part of an unofficial trilogy, but it's a standalone movie, and they've never done a remake of it, for instance. But Creepshow is an awesome movie.
I will fix that though. Give me. I had 2 other ones that are straightforward like that, but what other one here? Damn, I almost want to say The Crow, but there's all those shitty sequels.
Yeah, that's got sequels and a shitty remake.
Yeah. All right. Put that shit there.
Yeah, see, because my 3 picks are always they're old. So
yeah, mine technically are 70s and 80s here, but
yeah, that's the reason why I did say Sorcerer, Daniel, because it is a remake, and it's been remade since then too.
What, Sorcerer?
Yeah, Sorcerer is a remake of an old movie called The Wages of Fear, a French movie.
This is one of my picks too. I was gonna go.
Yeah, that's a remake of The Wages of Fear, and it has since been remade as The Wages of Fear on Netflix.
All right, so that doesn't count either then. All right.
We're just fucking with Sean in the
last 5 minutes. We can fix that, though. We can fix that. Hold on. We're going to fix that.
The Crow had a TV series, too. Yes, it did.
You're right with you.
It's a very underrated movie. Yeah, Sorcerer is my favorite Friedkin movie, Daniel. I love it. And unfortunately, it had the unfortunate timing of being released like a week or 2 after a little movie called Star Wars. All right, let's try again.
I got it all picked out now. All right, this one's got a little bit of nudity in the cover, but I got to block that out. So
it's all right.
First one is a horror movie from 1981, and that is Possession. This is a mind blower of a movie here. You got Sam Neill in this movie, Isabella Adjani, such a beautiful and wonderful actress, such a very, very realistic, actress with her style of acting that she brings to, all of her movies that she's been in. But this movie, first time I ever saw this, just really gripped me. The acting in it is so realistic too. Like I've never seen anything that could really even match up to it. Yeah. Now, I know this movie doesn't sit well with some people. It also has doppelgangers in it, too. It could really throw you off. But this is a movie you kind of have to watch multiple times, especially if you like it and you feel like it resonates with you. Keep watching it. Things start making sense to you. So, yeah, I definitely got to pick that one right there.
Nice.
So, I got Sorcerer out of there, but I got another William Friedkin movie, which I think is just untouchable. This one, they better not even try to even attempt to make their, well, maybe hopefully this doesn't have a remake or anything to it, but yeah, I got to go with William Friedkin's The Hunted with Benicio del Toro and Tommy Lee Jones.
Nice.
Absolutely, just such a fucking perfect movie this is, man. I mean, overall it's it's like Tommy Lee Jones is like a guy who's like training like military men, like guys that go in on like solitary missions and stuff. And he ends up training Benicio del Toro's character to a point where, this guy he becomes out of control and they're trying to, control him. But it turns out he's just too dangerous. He's too wild at this point. And doesn't matter what they do. This guy will fuck up anyone. This is almost like you could really like match this up to like Rambo.
Yeah.
Like if Rambo would meet. Yeah, like exactly. It's if you're a fan of the Rambo movies, at least First Blood, definitely give this one a watch. But I think that's a very underrated one from William Friedkin. But
yeah.
I am a big fan of William Friedkin as it is. I love all of his movies. And the last one here, I gotta go with rest in peace, Val Kilmer and everything, but Tombstone.
Yeah.
Gotta go with Tombstone on that.
That cast is so good.
I mean, like, it's, fuck, man. Yeah, I just, I really saw that the 4K's coming out. No directors come. I guess we're never get that, are we?
Yeah. Great picks. Great picks. Sorry I had to scramble your brain.
No. Hey, at least I was able to go on the fly and alter it, last second. But that's the wonderful thing of being a fan of so many different movies. You can always swipe things out, figure it out quick.
Absolutely. All right. So anyways, one last time I'm going to go through some comments here real quick before we wrap things up. But getting back to the Sorcerer, Daniel says, the bridge scene is amazing. We were freaking out when we saw it in the theater. Yeah, I mean, that's the most famous scene, but I love that whole movie. It's just a great
Dude, I recently went back and watched it on Blu-ray. Every time I get to that scene, I'm always like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like, I know I've seen this before, but every time I'm like, holy shit. Oh, wow, this is fucking cool right here.
Yeah, and Criterion just released that on 4K and Blu-ray. And I might actually double dip just because of all the bonus features and shit on it, which the version that I've got, the one that you've got, is bare bones. It's a decent enough transfer and everything, but it's definitely bare bones.
Another movie I kind of wanted to pick was No Country for Old Men. Kind of wanted to add that one in there, but
that's a great movie.
Yeah, that's an old time.
That's a great movie too. Alan says, nice to touch base with you, Jim. I look forward to the action movie stream on Monday. Thank you. Should be an interesting evening. Carlos will, of course, be totally wrong. Nice. Sean agrees with you. Possession is crazy good and crazy and good. Yep, absolutely. Sam Neill.
I was blown away by that. First time I ever saw it, I found it on the Turner Classic Movie Channel at like 2:00 in the morning. And I was like, what the fuck is this? This is fucking nuts. That movie gripped me, man. Then I went out and got my own copy of it and started to watch it multiple times on my own. I'm like, oh, you got to really pay attention to this movie.
Yeah.
You really pay attention.
That was another one of those early HBO movies for me. Let's see here. Daniel says Hunted is great. He met Tommy Lee Jones once. Really nice guy. Very quiet too. Awesome. Tombstone is wonderful too. Yep. Some actors of Tombstone will no longer. Yeah, unfortunately, most of the actors are no longer with us. But rest in peace, all of them. They were all fantastic. That's one of the best cast movies of all time. It just is. Every actor in that movie brings it, no matter if they're in one scene or the whole movie. It's so good.
Even Billy Bob Thornton, his brief role in it, he fucking brings it.
Get the shit slapped out of him. It and The Brood were great but tough watches. Hell yeah, man. The Brood, I think, is the most underrated film in Cronenberg's filmography, and that is a rough movie. I love it though. Okay, so before we wrap this,
But Brood, I mean, you got body horror with kids. Fuck.
Yeah, that movie's fucked up, man. But we are coming up to the end of the show, everybody. I want to thank everybody in the chat today for coming along for this little journey. But before I get to my little end where I give Sean a chance to pimp out his content, I'm going to pimp out mine again. So, because I'm a selfish bastard that way. The very next episode of Shooting the Shit with Jim, episode 14, in fact, will be in 2 weeks from today, July 12th. And at the same time, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, my very special guest will be Gareth from Video Tasties from the UK. And I'm a big fan of Gareth's content. Never actually had a conversation with him face-to-face, but I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully the rest of you can come along in a couple of weeks for that little chat that I'm going to have with Gareth. On Monday, the 30th of June, that's in 2 days, at 1 p.m. Central Time, on the Talking Movies live stream channel, which is from my good friend Dan over in the UK. That will be a special live show with me, Carlos, and Jeff and Dan, and we're going to be discussing the top 10 action films. Those guys are going with their top 10 action films that of all time. I'm going at it a little bit differently, like I always do. I am only including movies in my catalog, so to speak, and I am going only strictly with straight action. I am not including any comedy action, science fiction action. I mean, to give you an instance, I am not including Aliens or RoboCop, even though I love both of those films. But to me, those are sci-fi action films. I am going with straightforward action. So please join us on Monday.
Have hard-boiled in there.
It's going to be fun. But, hopefully you guys can join us Monday on Dan's channel. I'm going to leave links for that. And last and certainly not least, this coming Tuesday, July 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, will be the next edition of Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim. That will be on Sean's channel at Movie Assault or the Talking Movies 2024 channel. We are going to be celebrating 2 anniversaries on that show. The first and foremost, the big one, Jaws. 50th anniversary was this past week. Jaws is certainly Sean's favorite movie of all time. It's certainly one of my favorite movies of all time. Kenny feels that way too. Everybody, if you don't like Jaws, you don't like movies, because Jaws is a masterpiece. It really is. But we're going to be taking a deep dive into that, discussing not only that incredible film, but the effect that it had on Hollywood, the effect that it had in how people perceive blockbusters, so to speak, how people perceive summer movies, and the ripple effects, no pun intended, with all the rip-offs and sequels and everything else that have happened through the years. So the second thing we're going to be celebrating on that show is the 1-year anniversary of that show. The first episode from Sean and Kenny was 1 year ago. I joined them in August, but the show actually turns 1 on July 1st. So hopefully some of you, if not all of you, can join us for that very special show and enjoy that celebration with us. So that, again, will be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Sean's channel at Movie Assault or at the Talking Movies 2024 channel. I want to take this opportunity to thank Sean from Cinephile World Order. If you haven't done so, please go over to Sean's page, give him some love, show him some subscriptions, pass along his content to other people. You can also find him on Instagram underneath the same handle. And Sean, I want to give you this opportunity to plug anything you've got coming up through the pipeline, sir. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I do, I do at least a stream a week, at least one stream a week. Right now, we're in the middle of the Nolan Batman trilogy. We just got through Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, but tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be closing that out with The Dark Knight Rises. So, yeah, overall, there is a lot of watch parties that I do through live streaming on my channel. I'm trying to mix things up. I'm trying to get back into, like, top 5 or top 10 countdowns and stuff since, I'm actually, just doing most of that stuff on my own now. Actually kind of glad it's that way. I don't have to hear fucking smoke alarms and fucking have people with their heads in all this dumbass fucking shit going on. I can actually hear myself and actually think, and I can actually talk. But other than that, yeah, but Jim, by the end of this summer, we got to get a watch party somewhere on my channel. Now, here's the thing, though. You can pick the time, you can pick the day, you can pick the movie. Other than that, yeah, it's because I know usually late at night, like when I go live at like 10 p.m., it's hard for you. Those hours are hard for you to do. But I'm very flexible. I can do like we did here to like 1, 2 o'clock. Like,
I would love that. I would love
that. Yeah, and like
there's quite a few movies on Look that I absolutely love that you haven't seen. Okay, and I would like to do one of those. Like The Soldier. That one that I've been pimping on there on my channel with Ken Wall, with the crazy scene where the baby carriage gets taken out. That's the opening scene of that crazy ass movie, and it's just a crazy ass movie. That's what The Boys and Company C is one that I would love to do a watch party of, because to me that's the best Vietnam movie of all time. It's better than Full Metal Jacket. It's Full Metal Jacket, before Full Metal Jacket, you know. So, but we'll definitely discuss that. That's something that I would definitely look forward to that. So
yeah. It's there's no rush for any of that. I just figured since we're on here, mention it, and it's not something I want to have to expect someone like you to do that every week. But like every now and then, it'd be cool to get on the get on your channel like this, do a stream, do something on my channel sometime in the future. But other than that, I need to start working on doing videos on my channel. I really do want to try to go through my whole collection, because even on my old channel that got terminated, I never properly went through my collection. I would only do like collection updates.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, I have so many. Yeah, it's not just you. I'm sure tons of other people would like to see that too. And I have a well over probably like more than 800 movies in my collection. So I could probably produce a lot of interesting videos for people that are in the physical media to watch that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I know it would help my channel at the same time. It really would. So, but other than that, for now, kind of just and I always appreciate you supporting my channel when you can. And I am trying to get back into the swing of things. Obviously, I had a very tough 7 months with a relationship with someone. I just don't know where the hell my head was with that. That really took me off of my game, but I can't focus on that shit anymore. It's more power to her. If she wants to be out of her damn mind, she can go do that. But I need to keep my sanity. Need to stay in my own lane. Do what? I just need to do what's good for me. I need to just think about myself. But now I'm starting to have more time on my hands to enjoy myself and watch more content. So I do need to get back to watching your channel a bit more often, because I really do enjoy hearing you talk in your videos and all your experiences and everything. And
well, thank you.
I'm really glad to see that you're doing live streams though. Because when I first started doing content, I was like, I'll never be a live streamer. I don't mind being in chats for people's live streams. I was like, I'll never do that shit.
Yeah.
And
you were the one that inspired me to originally get on camera. Like I said, Sean and Kenny was the first time I actually did it. Okay. But you were the one that talked me up about it, because you invited me to be on with you. And I just happened to be on their show like 3 or 4 days before I was on with you. And so they broke my cherry, but you lubed me up. So dude, I used to just be strictly videos and all that. I would go to people's streams and be in the chat. And then once, it's funny that you mentioned Gareth over at Video Tasties. He's the one who showed me how to use StreamYard. Yeah. And once he showed me, I just snowballed right away. And I started to get on a kick with the streaming. And I was like, wow, now I'm all streaming and fuck these videos. Like it's just, you don't know how things will change or be for you until you try it. That's for anything in life. Absolutely. But anyways, this has been an absolute treat. It's been a long time coming. I hope you can come back further down the road. We're going to do this again. You were absolutely fantastic guest. So thank you once again for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, dude. I really did enjoy this, and we can easily do this again.
Awesome. Yeah, whenever, I appreciate that.
If you're trying to consistently do stuff like this, like all the time, and you don't have a spot for someone to fill in, just in touch with me. I might be able to do that.
Awesome.
Sometime
I appreciate that.
That might happen to you. You might not have a spot, to fill. And I understand you want to be consistent with doing it. So just always send me an Instagram message, and we could probably, get that worked out. But awesome. I really did enjoy it. I really enjoyed it, dude.
Me too, man. Me too. Like I said, this was a long time coming. So thank you so much. And I also want to thank everybody in the chat for helping the show be a lot of fun. Daniel, Sean, Carlos, Melina, Sarah, all of you. I always feel like I'm doing romper room when I do this at the end of the show. Alan, Daniel, I mentioned a couple of times. I mean, all of you guys, you make this show such a treat to do every couple of weeks. So I really appreciate the continued support that I get from all of you. And like I said, I'm going to be back here in 2 weeks with Gareth. Same bat time, same bat channel. So we'll be seeing you on the next one. Hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll be catching you on the next one. Take care, everybody.